Hello and welcome to Amethyst Star Crafting. My name is Jane Allmark and I'm a UK independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. And today we're still doing Christmas cards and using what we've got. And we're using the Starlit punch for it. It's a really great punch if you like stars, because it punches out 6 stars in one go, and you've got all sorts of different shapes and styles. So I've been using it a lot, and particularly this little tiny weeny one on here, because as I was saying to you the other day, when in the new catalogue there's a series of dies which are absolutely lovely, but I thought that we could make our own. So this is the way you're going to make it. You need a take your pick tool, because that's one of the most valuable pieces, and I've just done this on Sahara sand purely so you can actually see it a little bit easier. So just take it out of the die and use your take your pick tool to go into the tiny little points, and then that will help release the die. So I'm just going to take the die out, because then, as I say, it releases it out. I'm going to... Oh, excuse me, the sun's just come out and it's just literally made me sneeze. And then you can just take out the little pieces on here. You can use, there's die brushes and things like that, but the take your pick tool, particularly when you've got something that's fairly delicate, works really well. So you then have, let's take this out of the way, you then have your die, and I take out all the other pieces that are in there, and then I can literally just throw it away. Now this die is from the, I've got all the dies out because we're using a few today. So this is from the Painted Poppies, and it's Painted Labels dies. Again, look at your dies and see what you've got, because in this one you've got some leaves, which are really rather good. You've got a little border, which again is lovely, and you've got 2 frames. So use your dies rather than looking in the new catalogues and going like, oh, I'm going to get this one, when we have things that are very similar. Now, don't get me wrong, if you're starting out and you need to build your collection up, build your collection up, but don't always think about buying new. Look at using what we've got. So these sort of the last few videos I've done is really about let's use what we've got rather than wasting a lot of time on buying new things. So we need, excuse me reaching across, I've just realised my paper snips are on the other side of my desk. So what we're going to do with this is, if you see where the dotted line is that runs all the way along, we are going to cut along that line so that we get the most out of this die. So we're taking it out to give us this little swirly frame. So if you can see, I'm literally just cutting along. So on this one, you've got quite a long one to work with, but you need to just follow it round. And then again on this one, this is another long one, so just follow the stitched line round, and then that takes the inside out. Now if you've got another die, you can actually cut that out and you can use that for something else. It's a little bit skew whiff at the moment, and on these pieces all we need to do is to just tidy them up. So follow along in on the line, follow along in on the line here, and again on this one we've got a little bit either end, and then on this one on here. And it takes a few moments, but it's nothing that's overly complicated. You're just literally following along to just neaten it up, and then you will have a perfect inside piece, which gives you that lovely sort of swirly frame, being completely see-through by taking out the inside piece. Now, then we need to take our little tiny star, and with the little off-cut pieces, we are going to just punch out a whole selection of those stars. Okay, and then we're going to glue the stars all the way around, so you have a nice little star one, and we can change the colours of them. So I'm going to, Blue Peter style, I'm going to move this forward and show you one that I've completed, and I've done this in a sort of a metallic silver. We've got metallic brushed silver coming, so that's quite good. So that's how it will look. And then what we're going to do is we are going to take a whole series of dies that we've got that have got leaves in. So I have used, I've kept them out so I can show you, penned flowers dies, and in there we've got these lovely ones. So there's lots of little leaves in there. The one that we've just literally done, what was it called? The poppies, the painted labels dies. There's a leaf in there. This one is the meadow dies. And in the meadow dies, there are these lovely little tiny leaves. And these are going to be perfect for holly. So those tiny little leaves, punch some of the, die cut some of those out. Just look through your dies and see what you've got. You'd be surprised how many different leaves we have in dies. And then we've got Forever Flourishes, which is probably one of my favourite. It was the top selling stamp set for last year. And there's these lovely little ones. Now there's 4 of them. So it means you can actually punch 4 out or die cut 4 out at the same time. So it saves a bit of time. This is beautiful. Again, lovely to go on the top of baubles and all sorts of things. So don't forget about that one. And then there's all these other leaves that you can cut out as well. So, you know, look through the dies that you have. And just look them out. Now I'll say them again because I probably will forget to put them underneath. So Forever Flourishing dies, meadow dies, penned flowers dies, and painted labels dies. So if you want to look them up, you can see where the dies are or get your collections out. Okay, so I'm going to fast forward and show you what I have done with the first one, because it's easier to just do it on that. So I have taken those 2 little leaves and I've put them on with 3 little berries. Now the berries I actually took from my crocodile. So any little punch or anything that you have a tiny weeny little, you want it small, little tiny circle that you can then have to do your berries on. Okay, so we're going to take, I'm using a green mat. I think this is Pear Pizzazz. It was just a scrap I had over, 1/4 of an inch smaller for my card base. And what I want to do is I want to add just a little bit of colour to go behind here. So this is going to go in on top, and then we're going to build it up with the leaves and things. So I've just got my blending brush, and I've got some, I think it's Bumblebee from the other day, but that will work perfectly. And all I'm going to do is to just see if there's enough on here. I might have to pick up a little bit more. I'm just taking, I will have to take a little bit more. Bear with me a second while I just get a, have I got my bumblebee? There we go. Right, I've got my bumblebee. I like bumblebee because it has that really sort of gold look. So it's more golden than crushed curry or daffodil delight, and it's just, it does work beautifully. So we're just going to take a little bit of this. We don't want a lot because I don't want it to be overly done. I need to just put it on a bit of a scrap. Have I got, I don't know whether I've got, yes I have, I've got some little scrap pieces here, so like, because I don't want it to be too bright, so I'm literally just blending this in and just giving a little bit of a golden sort of shadow, tapping it off. If you can't see, that's probably just off screen, but I'm just building up just a little bit. I don't want it overly done, but it's the thing with the blending brush that's really good. You can build up your colour as you go, and that just takes off the whiteness of our basic white cardstock. Okay, so we are going to put this in over the top for our Christmas piece. But what I want to do is I want to build up round there some leaves and things. So the easiest way to do this is if you get the die back in. So if I put the die in where it's going to be, and then I've got a variety of the different leaves and things. I've actually put them on a magnifying glass so I wouldn't lose them. So you can see I've got this one. I've got lots of these little ones. I do like these in different colours. So, you know, just sort of build them up a bit. And what I want to do is to put, this is going to go in like that. And so you can take that to give you your circle and then build them up in there, or you can actually take your complete image. So I'm going to put this on here, and what I want to do is I want to take some of these leaves and just, I'm going to tuck them in underneath where I want them to go. So I'm going to take some wet glue, which I've got. Have I got my wet glue out? Oh, here it is. I've had my wet glue this way up, so it'll probably take a minute for it to go down the right way. But let's take these pieces and we can just start building them up. Now, I'm not going to put too much glue on there. I just want a little bit. And what I want to do is to just have it just sort of poking out around here. Now I've used garden green and I've used old olive, and I'm literally just sort of building up a bit of a frame. You can see I'm not putting this other piece down yet because I just want to build up as I'm going. So I've got different leaves in here, so we could have one of these ones in, which will probably work quite nicely. I should probably take them all in the same direction, shouldn't I? So let's put that one sort of maybe there. We'll have another dark one in. But you can see, you can just start. Oh, did I not stick that one down? I don't think I did I? It does help if I stick down as I go. I was just sort of balancing that out. As I say, what I would probably do is to just put them all down loosely for loosely first and then decide how I was going to do them. But for this, I'm literally just going to have another green one in on here, won't we? Whoops. That one I've already glued, so I'm literally just sort of working my way round. So we've got 3 on there, and let's have this one up in on here. Because again, if you think at Christmas time, you know, when we make wreaths and things, we do them with all sorts of different foliage, don't we? We don't necessarily all do them with holly or things like that. We just do them with, say, all sorts of different foliage. So, you know, just pop them round. So I need a little darker one to go in over the top of that, so that's just sort of sticking out. So we'll have this one just coming in, I think, over in on the centre there, like that. And we can then get some coming in down on the side there. So as I say, I'm just literally sort of building it up as I go and keeping my frame sort of in place so I can see where I want it to go. I want those 2 holly pieces coming on the side. Let's have a look and see what else I've got. Now I've got this one, which might actually be a bit big to work with, but would that go in? You see, that would work, a whole series of those. I'm going to keep with the smaller ones, I think, but I could cut some of the little leaves off of there. But I think I'm, as I say, just going to keep, that's another one of the ones from the poppy one. So I'm going to put that sort of down. Maybe that came out of that side. I'm going to have this one sort of tucked in on that side there. But as I say, just whatever you've got, you know, you can build it up in whatever leaves and things you have. So we need to make sure it's running in the same direction. That's the only thing, that you need to take stuff that comes in the same direction. So I'm just going to tuck this one in under like that, and then we can take a couple of dark ones either side, and I might leave the space there where the holly is, because I think that that will work better. So I'm just going to tuck this one in under here, and we'll tuck, so I'm sort of alternating the 2 different, so I've got old olive and I've got garden green, and I think by just alternating it, it works quite well. And as I say, just sort of tuck them in as you go. Just make sure that one comes underneath. Another dark one. As I say, I've only just done a few of these. I would probably do some in even more different shades of green. We've got quite a lot of lovely shades of green, so it would work quite well to have, you know, different shades. Right, now we didn't want this to come up too high onto those, the holly pieces. Make sure I haven't just stuck that in over the top. So as I say, do it sort of fairly carefully and keep sort of lying your frame piece down. Right, let's have another bit of green. I do love doing sort of Christmas wreaths and things. They always remind me. I do one for my front door because I think that it always looks really nice to have a pretty wreath on your front door. Okay, so there's that one on that one. I think that's probably, I might just have another darker green one just in on there. I don't want to have too much. So let's just take this one in on here, and we'll pop this one just in to take it over the top, because I just want to have it in like that, just over the bottom of that one in on there. So you can see I've left the spaces for my holly to sort of stick out a bit more, and then we can put this in over the top. Now what I might do is, as I've got my, let's just close that ink pad up, as I've got my little berries and things on, I've got, so this is great for using little scraps. So I've got a little tiny weeny scrap of the cherry cobbler, which is great for berries. And what we can do is we can put that in. So I'm going to first of all just glue this down, because we know that that's where we're going to have it. And I'm just looking to see sentiment wise whether I'm going to have my sentiment in. No, I'm going to have my sentiment either above or below or slap bang in the center, because I want those to come either side. So with this, again, wet glue is your friend, because it has just a fine little point, and you can just put little pieces round, or just run it round as you would draw with a pen, and it will then stick nicely in place. So I'm just making sure that we've got enough little bits of glue round on here. Take my finger out so I've got glue where my finger was. Round on there. Okay, so I can then put this with my little berries in on the center here and just glue it down. So we've got that in 2 layers. And again, my little tip, turn it over, rub it from the back, because then you're not catching any of the little delicate pieces. But I think that that's starting to look really pretty. Now, I was going to say about putting some more little berries round on here, but I think it works quite well with that. I might even do, because I was going to do some red ones, but let's have a little look and see. So on the very smallest part of this, I'm just going to take out a couple and see what they look like. We might use them, we might not. Now you find when it punches out, it does tend to sort of bend them a little bit, but you can just flatten them out with your take your pick tool. Now I'm just going to have a little look and see, do I want to take a few little berries round on here? I think I do actually. I think it'll pick it up. Excuse me. You can always keep them exactly as they are and just have the little cluster at the side, but I think I want just a little bit more, so we can just have just some little bits, and I just do a little dot, take the putty end, which is really good, pick it up, and then we can just put just a couple on here, and we'll have another. I don't want to over egg it, I don't think, but I think I do want to have just a few little red ones coming in, because it just brings up the colour a little bit, but so easy to do. So we've just got a couple up on there, and then we want just a few more down. Let me just take a few out. Come on. Oh, I think it's got stuck in there. Let's do another one. I should have 2 coming out now. Don't want to come out at the moment. Let's do a whole pile. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so let me just take these ones. They should come out now. There we go. It's better. Okay, so let me just see where we're going to have, I'm going to have just maybe one on each one of these little pieces here, as if it's a little sort of sprig. Or maybe just down on here. Doesn't really matter which colour. One. Have a little piece in on here. 2. I'm just building it up slowly because you don't want it to be overly coloured in. So I'm just, as I say, just taking a little piece at a time, putting it over. That's pretty. Because it just, that tiny weeny little pop of red of a berry just makes it look, I can't think where I put the other one. Oh, there it is. Sometimes you can't see for looking. Put that one in on there. And maybe we'll have just I do quite like it just like that. I don't think I need to have too many more. I could put little bunches of them together, which might be an idea, so that they're more like a little cluster. But I do quite like to have the cluster there, and that I'm going to leave it as it is, I think, and we'll see once we've got it all together. So that is then going to go on to, I'm going to have it onto a green base, I think. So that's onto the green. That makes it look quite luscious and brings it out. I have got a piece of cherry cobbler here, so we can have a look and see what it looks like on the cherry cobbler. Again, that looks nice. I think I do want to have it on the green because I think the green makes it far more fresh. So we're doing that on the green base like that. Now we need to put a little sentiment on there. Now, I've taken out, what sentiment have I taken out? I've got, we've got the stars are shining. So we could have celebrate the wonder going across. I think it might be a little big. Let's have a look and see. I've got the Peaceful Deer has got some small ones in. That little Merry Christmas I think might work from Peaceful Deer. I don't want to have too much in on there. So let's have the Merry Christmas. And I'm going to take a little piece of white. Let me see if I've got a little scrap of white over. I should do. Let's have a look. There we go. There's a little scrap of white on here. So what I need to do is I need to cut this down to size first of all. So I'm going to cut that to, I'm just looking to see if I've got that, which might do as my frame, or have I got a, I don't know whether I've got a small enough piece. Right, so what I need to do is to measure the sentiment first to see what size it is. So it needs to be 2, and we'll have it 2 1/8 by 2 1/8 by 1 2 3/8 of an inch. Right, remember that, 2 1/8, 2 1/8, So 2 1/8. Oops, move that out of the way. 2 1/8. By, was that right? No, that wasn't right, was it? What did I do it as? Oh yes, that should be all right actually. 2 1/8. Yes, 2 1/8 by 3/8. So let's do 1, 2, 3/8. It's going to come to there. Okay, so that should give me the size for the sentiment, and then I just need to have a little border. We'll have it in this one. So 2 1/8. So I need to do this at it was 3/8 on here. So we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's have it at 4/8. See if that'll work out. Might not be. Just trying to see if that's going to be. No, I need it a little bit wider. So let's take it at 1, 2, 3. Let's take it at that. We'll take it at 1/2 inch, I think. 3, 4, 5. It needs to be just a little bit bigger. So let's take that to there. Is that going to be better? Might be a bit big. So this has got to be, what size was that? That was 2 1/8. So we need that to be just over 2. I'm trying to do it 1/8 of an inch. So I don't want it to be too wide, and I need to just take a tad off of this. It's the nice thing about the trimmer. You can just take off little tiny slivers if you want to. So that should work in on there. And if it doesn't, I'm going to trim it down, I think. Let's have a look and see if that's working. That's nicely on 1/8 there, isn't it? And I just need to take a sliver off of that end as well. So as I say, slivers are perfect to take off on the trimmer because it does allow you to just take the tiniest bit off. So I do like our trimmer. It is it's very good. Right, okay, so now that I've faffed about with that, you can cut it with scissors if you want to. I just wanted to show you that you can do it with snips. Now, colour wise, I think I'm probably going to do it in green rather than do it in rather than doing it in red, because I think red will knock it out a bit. So I'm going to do it in I just take my block out. I'm going to do it in green, I think, and I want to have it in, what was it, Pear Pizzazz. So we grab Pear Pizzazz. I've actually taken Evening Evergreen as well, because for a sentiment, you want your sentiment to be quite dark, and I think if I use the Pear Pizzazz, it's going to be a bit light. So I'm going to use Evening Evergreen because it's still not, it will still work quite well, I think, and I want a dark, I don't want black. I could have a sort of a grey, but I think the Evening Evergreen is quite nice. So let's pick this one up like that, ink it up. It's our little sentiment, and see if I can get that straight in on there. Hopefully I can, I can hardly see that with my lights. Fingers crossed. There, that's perfect. Merry Christmas on there. Then all we need to do is to just put, I've just stuck my finger in it, which is quite juicy. Let me, have I got any? I have to make sure I just don't stick my finger in there. So we're going to then mount this onto here, just with a little bit of wet glue. Oh, come on. There we go. Pop that one in on here. So you've just got a tiny, tiny little border in, which is what we want. Don't want it over the top. And then that is going to go in on the centre. I don't want it to go. Might actually have it at a jaunty angle because I don't want it to go through where my berries are. So I think that that will work. I might just take, do I want to take a little tiny flag out of it? Don't know. I think it might work just like that. Quite like that on there. Yes, I think that that will work. I don't want to put a flag out of it because then it's not going to really work. So I'm not going to put dimensionals on it either. I'm just going to take it as it is, grab some wet glue, put it down at an angle through on here. To make sure that it's not. There we go. So it's exactly the right size in on there. And then that can go in onto, I'm gonna, I know I haven't cut into this base, but I've got, I do sometimes, I don't all of the time, and I've got so many scraps at the moment that I'm just going to put it straight onto here, I think. So we'll have that in on there like that. And then I've just done a whole pile of bases. So I'm getting ready to do all my cards in earnest. So I just need to have I don't know where I've put my bone fold. I'm dithering a bit today, aren't I? It must be one of those days, I think, because the weather's starting to get colder. So I'm just going to do it with the back of my scissors. Just give that a quick rub through, and then we can put this in on here. You could use another colour if you wanted to. I tend to use white for my bases because I just like doing that. I'm very much a white person for bases, and I do my mats in colours, but I don't like overly colouring things. So we'll put this down in on here like that, and there you have a really rather fun Christmas card, just using what you've got and twinkling it up. As I say, if you wanted to add some more in round there, you could do. If you wanted to add some ribbon, you could, or you can just keep it like that. So thank you so much for watching me. As always, please stay safe and well. Please be kind, and look forward to seeing you soon. Bye bye.